You know, forgiveness in the way that the world has is very different than, you know, the way A Course in Miracles talks about it, and even really a lot of the ancient wisdom that's come to us about it is. And I like to frame it in a way that maybe you haven't heard it quite like this before. Is that forgiveness is a giving forth of my own projections that seem to be showing up outside in the world outside of me. That there really isn't anyone ultimately to forgive. That I actually don't see the world. I see my own, the perceptions that I see come from the projection within myself that shows up as the world. So anytime somebody really pisses me off or something happens, what that's showing me is a place within myself where I still believe somehow at the very core that I'm separate from the whole. You may call it like separate from God, or you might say separate from the all. And I could only attack part of creation in my mind if I believed that I was separate from it. So the forgiving is the relinquishment of attack and judgment against the all or the whole, thus no longer fragmenting myself from it. So anytime, when that comes down to like basic everyday, you know, if somebody I'm driving by and somebody cuts me off and I go into frustration around that, even that frustration is underneath it is an idea that that person and the world out there is responsible for the way that I feel, what I'm experiencing. And that can only lead to being a victim to the world that I see. I can't get out of a victim consciousness unless I can actually see that everything that I'm seeing out there is coming from my own projection within myself, and the forgiveness is only ever of myself. That I don't see anything as it is, I see it as my perceptions of it are, and I am responsible for those perceptions. Like if I look at my mind as an altar, what I place on the altar of my mind is up to me, and what I place on the altar will ultimately be what my experience of life will be. So I forgive all of the past, that it no longer is what I use as the barrier between myself and the world and all my brothers and sisters. So I ultimately end up forgiving myself for dreaming up of a nightmare that I can somehow be separate from God, from Source, from the All. And I let that go for a new perception. One that is, even forgiveness itself, I would propose is an illusion, but it's the one illusion that wakes us up to the fact that we're dreaming, and the dream switches from a nightmare into a happy dream. And ultimately to transcend dreams, like A Course in Miracles says, in heaven there's no need for forgiveness. But while we're here right now dreaming up that we're separate from each other, forgiveness makes it a happy dream.